Call the meeting to order and call the roll, okay?
Jay Bell, Bobby Bishop,
Here.
Alice Canella,
Here.
Darren Collins,
Here.
Kenny Custer,
Here.
Doug Fisher,
Here.
Walker Jones,
Here.
Bill McGriff,
Here.
Gene Shipley, Boyd Ville,
Here.
Dick G.
Here. Okay, let me once again read the preamble to the meeting that concerns COVID. It says, we in this country are presently and continuing to experience the coronavirus pandemic and are currently under a state of emergency as declared by the governor of the state of Tennessee. His order number 71 issued by Governor Bill Lee is being conducted pursuant to the governor's directive, which allows local government bodies to conduct their meetings without its members being physically assembled together and to reduce exposing the general public. The members of these local government bodies and staff from the members of local government bodies and government staff from the possibility of contracting the coronavirus. I kind of mumbled through that, but I think I got it. Anyone wishing to address this board at the end of the meeting will be given an opportunity. There is a number. I want to take that down, 209-7845. At the end of the meeting, I will tell you when you can make that call, and we'll stay online until we've spoken to you. As normal with our commission members, just raise your hand if you want to speak. I remind you to, if you're not speaking, mute yourself, and that will eliminate background noise from getting through and entertaining us all throughout the meeting. Assuming no objection, we should be familiar with this by now. Let's continue with the meeting. And do we have any visitors? Is anyone here that I don't? All right. Commissioners have been provided minutes of the board meeting scheduled for January 27th, 2021. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Doug.
Second.
Thanks, Bill. Also, commissioners have been given minutes of the committee work session dated February 18th. Do I hear a motion for that approval?
Move for approve.
Thanks, Walker.
Motion.
I got Walker and Bill. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you. In addition, we have a consent calendar. Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thanks, Kenny. All right. We've worked our way down the line here to the council's report. Neill, have you got anything that we need to hear?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
As you are aware, we have several projects that were awarded to S&ME Inc. Those include the East Ridge Sewer Basin Rehab Project, the Lookout Mountain Rehab, the East Ridge I-75 Collector System, the East Ridge Sewer Basin 3C and 4B Rehab. We, of course, have work on the consent decree management. Also, the Red Bank Sewer Rehab, CA, and the representative that the resident project representative. And then we've got some things for Signal Mountain. S&ME has sold its water and wastewater division to LJA Engineering Inc. And this is among other projects that they have bought out from S&ME. I have prepared for Mike's signature an assignment. The assignment basically says that SNME and LJA have entered into this agreement. We are not behind in any payments to anyone, and we have confidence that LJA is competent to to carry on these engineering projects. And the further thing is that if they get into a battle, it battles between them and not us. And we believe that they are competent and have the engineering background to perform or to continue to perform this contract. It's a standard assignment, as we usually do in the county. And it also sets forth for the fact that they have met all our prerequisites. In other words, we have got certificates of insurance on each one of those projects in the amount approved by our risk management when they were initially bid. So I would like to bring you all aware of that and what else is going on with it. That's basically it. I'm going to have the county executive sign it simply because of the consent decree aspect of it. No other basis.
Is there anything else we need to do, the board?
Well, you need to agree to the action that Mike and I have taken, that we want to continue with Scott and his people. They've been doing us a good job. They've had the contract. And I don't think any of those contracts want to be stopped now and then put out for bid again. So
Okay.
This is the best thing to do.
This subject came up in the work session, but I'm not sure everybody was there and is aware of the situation. Who wants to take on a few minutes and bring everybody up to date with the situation with SNME and LJA and Scott McDonald et al. Michael, you want to?
Actually, Scott's here. I'll let him do that.
Hey, that's a good idea. Scott?
Yeah, as Neill kind of explained, LJA has acquired the water business unit of SNME, and in addition to the WWTA contracts, it includes quite a few other clients and contracts. Myself and several others are also, pretty much the entire staff that's been working on WWTA contracts for quite some time now are actually all employed by LJA right now. There were a total of 20 individuals that came over and elected to join LJA. So there's quite a bit of continuity there. As far as LJA, they're really a large engineering firm. They're based out of Texas with their home office in Houston, Texas. They're the second largest engineering firm in the state of Texas. On the Engineering News Record, which is kind of like a list and ranking of engineering firms throughout the country, they're ranked number 65 for design. So out of all the engineering firms in the U.S., they're in the top 65 nationally as far as revenues go. It's a large company. We have about 1,200 employees, 300 different specialties. They add quite a bit of additional reach back for water and wastewater related projects that we're looking forward to take advantage of and continuing to serve WWTA and their needs. So with that, that's kind of a quick down and dirty synopsis, unless anybody has any specific questions they'd like for me to address.
Yeah, I'll open it up to the board. Are there any questions? Okay, the move physically is complete, correct, Scott?
Yes, that's correct. We're in some temporary offices downtown, but we're in the process of signing leases near a facility near Warehouse Row, where we'll be within walking distance of DRC going forward.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion, Neill? Is that
Yes.
what we require?
Yes,
And
I believe Natasha wrote one out this morning. I've looked at it and reviewed.
Okay,
We have a resolution, don't we?
Yes.
we have a resolution. Okay,
That's-
all right, so we don't need a motion.
No, all we need is to pass the resolution.
Okay, very good. That's right. I saw the motion. Very good. Thank you for reminding me. So no further questions. It'll be, sounds like to me, pretty much business as usual under a different name. And
Yes.
I think that's good for WWTA, frankly, personal opinion. Okay. Mike, are you ready with your segment of this meeting?
I'm ready. Taylor or Caleb, I'm not sure which one of you. So if you could go to the SSO report. We had a very good month for SSOs especially for the winter time, courtesy of the relatively light rainfall, but we've also completed quite a few projects. So that is certainly a part of it as well. Has any questions about that? I don't know that I've seen a January SSO report ever that low.
Yeah, take a victory lap. I mean, that's,
Either with this,
for whatever reason, we'll accept that as well, that's really good.
Hey, Mike, do you recall where those overflows were reported?
mostly on Signal Mountain.
Okay.
And they were wet weather.
Wow.
In fact, they were all on Signal Mountain, as I recall. So,
For
Thank
Pete's sakes. Any questions? Okay, that's outstanding. I hope we can maintain that for sure.
just preliminarily, February is looking pretty good too, although the wet weather that's upcoming this weekend may change that number some. It's not quite January, but it's we've had relatively few SSOs in February as well. So moving on to PSLP, we had 21 calls. That's compared to 14 calls in January. So that's a little more than have been having the last 6 or 8 months or so. But anyway, not a particularly large number. If nobody has any questions, I'll just talk about the project list just briefly. Just want to highlight a few projects. The East Ridge I-75 collector project. There's about a 300-foot bore under I-75 that they have been struggling mightily with over the last several months. As of yesterday, they finally made it through. So that's a major piece of that project. It was really causing some problems with project completion. So we made it through there. Another project would be the Shorttail Springs Pump Station Upgrade Project. We started that force main replacement. You may recall that we are under the time constraint of the paving of Snow Hill Road. That project actually started Saturday. So we're moving along with that. The Red Bank rehabilitation job is roughly 70% complete. That is a lining and manhole and service line rehab project that we started on in an effort to establish some credits to help with the moratorium there. And the Signal Mountain.
Is that the one? Excuse me.
Sorry,
Is that the one that allows them to develop the old high school?
Oh, that is one of the intentions of the project is to establish credits for that amongst others.
Okay.
And then the Signal Mountain Treatment Plant Catwalk project, we're probably 4 weeks away from actually beginning construction on that. The contractor is waiting on a steel delivery, is my understanding, and some other materials. So anyway, I don't know if anybody has any other questions about the project list. I'll be happy to answer them if I can.
Hey, Mike, is Scott still on?
It should be.
Yes,
So
sir.
Talking about that I-75 bore, and Scott, I got your email the other day where they plan to move, once they finish that bore, move up to the Ringo Road side. Now, is that going to actually go around in front of the Life Care Center as it was originally designed? Because I don't recall.
Yes, yeah. What'll happen is they'll cross Ringo Road right there in front of Life Care. Then they'll actually go in place of the existing sewer that runs along behind and to the side of Life Care.
Okay.
And then they basically go right back in the same trench where that existing sewer is. And then they add some new sewer to get it up to Hilton Drive.
All right, just FYI, I don't know if your guys have been over there and looked, and it's something that we all may need to get together and meet with TDOT and maybe even CW Matthews. So there's been a lake that's been created, and I don't know if they have stropped up a drain somewhere, but that whole area in front of Life Care is about 3 foot underwater.
We'll get out there and take a look at it, Kenny, and see if we can figure out what's going on with that.
So I've never seen that happen before. It's always stayed a little damp, but I've never seen it pond up like that, and it's almost all the way to the state line. So I just kind of want to give you a heads up ahead of time.
Yeah, thank
because
you.
it's something that's been brought to my attention, and I figure we now want to get together and make sure we can get that addressed before your guys need to get up there and mobilize on that.
Sure, we'll take a look at it. Could be with all the construction work they've got going on. They've got some stuff, kind of blocking it up and the port's not draining, but we'll certainly take a look at that.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Any other comments or questions? And I guess this basically adds up to the $40 million that we've been in round numbers that we've been discussing up to this point.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All righty.
There are some projects that probably aren't part of that, but for the most part, yes.
Yeah. We've never been this busy, project-wise.
We have a lot going on.
Yeah, and never accomplishing as much as we are these days. Feels good. Really good. Okay. The tap-on report was kind of cool.
The tap-on report was very good. I think Taylor remarked that that's the largest tap-on report that he's seen in his tenure here.
Yeah. How did Signal Mountain get on there?
I'd have to go down and we'll look at the address and see. Must have been someone on the pre-approved list, or it may just been a change of use. Not sure about that one.
Well, that's a big number. Taylor, you got that detail?
Caleb is running the show. Caleb.
Oh, Caleb. Okay, sorry.
Line item with the addresses should be a page above or below. I'm not sure exactly which direction. There you go.
I'm not sure, Dick, which particular one you're asking about.
It was very large. Did I miss it?
I think it was one for Dogwood Grove, and they had to do a grinder pump, and
That's what it was. Is that what it was?
Yeah, if it was more than the $800, the grinder pump was involved.
there it is.
There it is, 36
Yeah,
grinder pump
that's-
fee. Okay.
Yes.
So that is grandfathered in Dogwood Grove.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
With no more questions, we can go on to resolutions.
Resolution 0221-01, a Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority, WWTA Board Resolution accepting ownership of the Magnolia Farms Subdivision Phase 3 Sewer System, project number 19-319 at the contractor certified fair market cost of the sanitary sewer system of $196,000.
Your motion for approval?
This
Motion to
Walker-
approve.
This
Thank you,
Walker
Kenny.
second.
In a second, thank you, Walker. Just where is Magnolia Farms
It is out in East Brainerd.
in East Brainerd? Okay,
That's 60 lot, 60 new connections.
all right. Any questions? Any comments from the board? Now let's call the roll, please, Natasha.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Cannella,
Yes.
Darren Collins,
Yes.
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boyd Ville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes.
Resolution 0221-02, a Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority, WWTA Board Resolution accepting ownership of the Seven Lakes Phase 7 Sewer System, project number 18-335 at the contractor certified fair market cost of the sanitary sewer system of $200,030.
Your motion for approval?
So move.
Thank you,
Second.
Bill.
Second by Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny. Again, any discussion? Where is Seven Lakes?
Ultawa, 28.
Ooltewah. Okay. Any further discussion? Very good. Let's call the roll, please, Natasha.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Cannella,
Yes.
Darren Collins,
Yes.
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boyd Ville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes.
Resolution 0221-03, a Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority, WWTA Board Resolution authorizing the purchase of grinder pump packages and replacement pumps from Water and Waste Equipment for an amount of $204,680.
This was discussed in the work session. Mike, you want to?
And it requires some additional discussion that we did not cover in the work session.
Okay.
You could go to the larger resolution. Can you pan to the actual resolution itself? So back in July of 2019, the board authorized the purchase of these parts from Water and Waste, which is the manufacturer's rep for this area for the grinder pumps and the packages that we use. And the total amount was for $350,000 for a 3-year period. With this purchase, we will exceed that $350,000 authorization by $114,600. Apparently, Rodney tells me in the past we hadn't had number amount on the authorization. I think I added this probably back in July of 19, just because I didn't really want an open-ended resolution. But the bottom line is we need, in addition to, when you approve this purchase, we also need to approve an increased authorization that will carry us through July of 2022. And that's why we're recommending the total authorization be increased to $600,000 for that period. I should have had the larger number to begin with, apparently, based on the amount that we're needing to purchase. You're muted.
it authorizes the purchase of the grinder pumps, but it also extends the total amount for future authorization.
It's very likely that we would need to make it at least another some quantity in the $100,000 range purchase between now and July of 2022.
Okay.
This would allow us to do that. Either way, the purchase will come to the board just like this. But I felt the need to sort of make sure everyone understood the situation here.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill?
if we're doing two things in this resolution, the resolve section should have a section basically saying, be it further resolved that the authorization is increased to, from to, because this resolution, I guess technically it needs to have that added to make sure you're doing two things and you're only resolving one thing in the resolve section. Am I right about that, Neill? Well, you would think I'm right about that.
Who are you asking, Bill? Are you asking yourself?
No, I'm saying I'm my legal opinion, and $2 to get you a cup of coffee in a cheap restaurant. But technically, if you're doing two things in the resolution, you ought to resolve that you're doing two things and not just put it in the whereas paragraph, in my opinion.
So you're not questioning what we're doing. You're concerned about the format.
Yes, sir. That's all. I think we need to change that resolution to add the increase in the overall authorization so that the resolution does the two things Mike wants it to do. That's what I think.
Anybody other than Bill want to chime in with that? And
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. And I agree with what Bill is saying, but my question is it if each of the grinder pump package purchases are going to come before the board, is it necessary to approve the limit of $600,000 on the entire 3-year contract?
I guess I'll ask Mike to answer that. I mean, the question was, or I get the issue was, he didn't want an open-ended number out there.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry.
Is there a resolution saying what the authorization is?
Yes, that 7/1905 resolution that sets the $350,000 for the 3-year period.
So you need to either rescind that resolution or amend it in this one by increasing the authorization to $600,000. That's all I'm saying. If you've got, Mike's right, technically we're in violation of a resolution with this one unless we increase the overall authorization. And does that make sense?
Where are we in the process? If we go back and redo this, are we threatening a purchase?
Well, we're just trying to stay ahead. We could redo this and bring it to the board next month, I believe, and we'd be okay. We could defer this, I guess, is probably what would happen in this case.
Well,
yeah.
Or we can fix it by amending the resolution and being done with it. Pretty simple.
You want to make that motion?
I make the motion that we amend resolution, what is it? 221-03 to add in the resolve section a comment that, be it further resolved that the authorization of, so whatever it was stated in resolution, whatever it was, be amended to read, to increase that authorization to $600,000. You can let the lawyer, right? I mean, that's all I'm saying is we just add that. That takes care of it. That approves the purchase and increases the authorization to what Mike puts in the whereas section of the resolution. It's just a simple one paragraph increase in the resolve section.
The total authorization is increased to $600,000.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Neil, that's what I'm saying. And you can make that, put some legalese in and make it sound the way it's supposed to be. The first paragraph in the resolve section is approving the purchase. The second paragraph would be increasing the authorization from whatever it was in resolution, whatever it was, to $600,000. That would solve the problem at least.
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, it's a repeal and replace of resolution 0719-05.
Yes, that's the way I interpret it. Anybody else on the board got a comment or any?
Mr. Chairman, this is Darren. I have a quick question for Mike.
Sure.
Does the underlying contract, is it in, obviously with COVID, cost structures have been going up and down and fluctuating. Does this lock in your cost structure where it's not going to increase over that time period? Or is there a risk?
Yes, sir. They agree to the prices for a 3-year period. So in July of 2022, we will have potentially have different pricing.
Okay. So we have a motion to amend this resolution, and I think Bill has stated that. Does anyone need that amendment read again? Now, assuming that is approved, I guess I need a second then.
I'll second. Alice.
Thank you, Alice. Any further comments or
Dick,
questions?
Ms. Boyd, I have one question for Neil. Does that addition also need to appear in the caption section?
It should.
Okay.
And that would be, if you want me to try to put it in now and increase the total authorization for the wastewater equipment grinder pump station is increased to $600,000.
Okay, and we make that part of the motion also.
Okay.
If Alice will agree to second that.
I agree.
Okay. Have we got it now? So we have a motion and a second on an amended resolution. Everybody clear?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
technically, and Neil's the parliamentarian, don't we vote on the amendment and then vote on the resolution as amended?
Yeah,
Neil?
exactly. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Bill. Yes,
Yes.
exactly right. So now we're voting on the amendments to the resolution. So let's call the roll. Natasha, please.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Canella,
Yes.
Darren Collins,
Yes.
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boydville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes. Okay, with the amendments now added to resolution, what was that number? 03? Now we can vote on the resolution.
That's correct.
So do I hear a motion for approval?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the amended resolution 03,
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Bill. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alice. Is there any other discussion? Okay, let's call the roll.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Canella,
Yes.
Darian Collins,
Yes.
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boyd Ville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes.
Resolution 0221-04. A Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority, WWTA Board Resolution approving LJA Engineering to be pre-qualified to perform professional services for the Hamilton County WWTA.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Kenny. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Walker.
Walker. I think everyone should be up to speed on this, but just in case, does anyone have any comments or questions at this point? Very good. Let's call the roll.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Canella,
Yes.
Darian Collins,
Yes.
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boyd Ville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes. Scott, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I speak for the whole board, but I think I do. We are very happy that you are continuing in your relationship with WWTA. We look forward to a very productive time going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. I appreciate that.
Sure.
The entire team does as well. And we try to earn y'all's confidence every day.
Fantastic.
Thank
He
you.
hadn't been assigned
Yes, Walker.
anything yet.
Walker, what?
He hadn't been assigned anything yet until we passed that resolution.
Okay, one more resolution, I think.
Resolution 0221-05. This assignment, assumption, and consent to assignment agreement is made this 24th day of February 2021 by and between LJA Engineering Incorporated, a Texas corporation, and SNME Incorporated, a North Carolina corporation, and Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority, a public and governmental body acting as an agent and instrumentality of Hamilton County, Tennessee, for the purpose of conducting, operating, and maintaining wastewater services to the residents within the service area, primarily outside the city limits within Hamilton County, a political subdivision of the state of Tennessee.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Kenny. Here a second.
Second, Bill.
Neil, will you want to distill that into not so much legal talk?
It basically means they're assigning their contracts. We're not a party to those agreements, but we are a party to our own contracts. This simply it basically takes the letter that Scott sent us about SNME and puts it in legal form.
Okay.
And just says that we accept the assignment. In other words, we believe LJA is as competent as SNME used to be when they
Okay.
had a wastewater division.
All right. Very good. Do I hear a motion for approval?
I have a motion by Kenny, sir, and a second by.
Oh, we have a motion. Thank you. All right. Any questions? I guess I should say that. All right. Hearing none, let's call the roll.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Canella,
Yes.
Darian Collins,
Yes.
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boyd Ville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes. Okay, that, I believe, is all the Caleb, are you going to do the, there you go.
Yes, sir, I am. So for the month of December, we had a total bill amount of $1,018,000 roughly, of which $357,939 of that was in late fees for our Tennessee American Water customers.
That decline in the past due section, is that write-offs at all, Peggy? Or is that just a sign that things are getting better?
No, sir, it's not. There were no write-offs this month.
If that would continue in that direction, that'd be really great news. Caleb, I can't really tell, is December the last two bars there are
I'm sorry, this was for January. I misspoke.
For January? So between January and December, the billed amount, the orange part of that column, are those two numbers compare?
If we break down just the new bills, the amount was $660,000, which is lower than last month, which had a very high bill amount.
Okay. So part of that decline was just overall.
Right. And from this, about $80,000 was from the yellow portion, which was 4 months late.
Wow. So if it wasn't written off, it got paid. Is that right, Peggy?
Yes, sir. It's probably some residual of the shutting on and off and late fees.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully things will continue on that trend. We're crawling back to where we were post our pre-COVID, which was about 96 or 97%, 97% really.
Mm-hmm.
And for the month of October, we had a collection rate of 94.1%, bringing our cumulative to 95.8%.
So our revenue is down, but our cash is up. If I read the next charts right.
Mr. Chair, I got a question for staff.
Yeah.
And you may have covered this already. I don't recall. During the, obviously we're still in the pandemic, but during a certain time period during the pandemic, under executive orders, there was services could not be discontinued. When did that start and when did that end?
Mike,
as it relates to disconnections,
yeah,
with lack of payment.
So we did not resume shutoffs until November 1st. And I think legally we could have resumed shutoffs October 1st. I do not recall the start date of when we could not do shutoffs, but I believe it was back in
April, wasn't it?
May is my recollection.
March 12th.
But I'm not sure of that exact beginning date.
Yeah, as long as I had when they resumed is good. I roughly recall during the executive order when all the executive orders were coming out that was eliminated. But I just wanted to see when we started shutoffs back. I remember the discussion, but I didn't remember the date. And that question was asked of me recently. So,
okay.
And I could be wrong. I could be corrected on this, but I think when we resumed November 1st, we didn't actually resume until November 15th. Is that right, Natasha? I hate to put you on the spot, but I think
I think that's about right.
yeah, and I appreciate it. I don't need an exact date. I didn't want to put anybody on the spot. It's just, it's been inquired and I just wanted to get some rough estimates. If we could put some, that date together would be good, because starting to get some people asking questions about why it was resumed back. And I've explained everything about executive orders, but just wanted a rough idea.
Okay, we can get a timeline together.
That'd be great. Thank you, guys.
All right, Caleb.
That's all I have for the AR report.
Mr. Chair,
All
I
right.
have one more. I have another item.
Yes, okay.
Caleb, if you could go back up to the beginning to the Chambliss letter.
Which one was that?
It would be at the beginning of the director's report. Is how it is in the packet. Keep scrolling down.
Right before the project list.
Yeah.
Page 12.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So I'm not sure if this is a legal, I mean, it's certainly a legal matter, but just to give a brief description of what is going on here. We have been in discussions with Creek LLC. That's a very large development it's out in the Lookout Valley area. I think ultimately it's going to be over 1,000 houses roughly when it full build out. And they've been working on that project for quite a while, but we are getting down into some of the details now. And one of the things that they want to do is install low pressure lines under sidewalks. And that is something that we have generally not been in favor of just because of the additional maintenance burden that puts on us when we have to repair these lines. But we've made a couple of design changes and they've made some concessions to where they've actually, the piping, for lack of a better term, is essentially overbuilt. So at this point, we are comfortable with the piping being under the sidewalk. However, part of that agreement requires them to be responsible for the repair of the sidewalks should there be the need to do that. Their attorney is Chambliss and Bonner for this. Our attorney is also Chambliss and Bonner. And it presents a conflict of interest as outlined in this letter from Chambliss and Bonner. And I was curious about the board's feeling on this, as we have fairly recently hired Chambliss and Bonner. Obviously, we haven't signed this acknowledgement yet. And I suppose we could not sign this and they would need to get a different attorney, in which case we would use Chambliss and Bonner to represent us, most likely, in the event of a conflict.
Out of curiosity, were they originally with Chambliss and Bonner prior to us, or do you know?
I do not know.
Mike, this Walker, it looks like you said we have an agreement moving forward. So is there a need to have them change attorneys if y'all have come to an agreement in principle at this point?
We actually have not, we have a verbal agreement, you might say, but we have not worked out the details. That's one thing we would expect the firm to ultimately produce, shall we say.
I'm not sure exactly what this letter is saying, that if we enter into a disagreement with this Black Creek LLC, they're going to back away from both of us? Is that,
Yes.
is that what they're saying?
Which means if we were to get into a dispute with the HOA, there, and that's ultimately who will be responsible for the sidewalk repair under what we've been discussing. We would either use a different outside attorney, or we would need to, or we would use Neill's office services.
Okay.
I guess I wanted the board to be aware that they're wanting me to sign this, and it would, at least in terms of our dealings with them, we wouldn't be using Chambliss and Bonner for that. And Neill, I'll be happy for you to weigh in as well.
It's the standard things that apply when you have a conflict of interest. They have to make sure that you are aware of the conflict and that you have had an opportunity to have somebody else look at it, and that you consent to waiving this so that they may represent Black Creek with an MOU. And if there becomes a problem with the MOU, you realize that they cannot represent either Black Creek or the WWTA in the event of a dispute over that MOU. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about homeowners associations is they have a tendency to disappear as the subdivision gets older. And usually they are kept current for maybe 5 years, 10 years after a development goes on. And then after that, they disappear. It gets down to 2 people being the whole homeowners association. So I would point that out to you all now. It's good to have a homeowners association there, but you never know how long its longevity will be. It could be 5 years, it could be 5 days. Nobody knows for sure.
So I guess we have to talk about what might occur that would cause a disagreement that would become a legal issue. And what are the odds of that happening?
To me, the legal issue is going to be if there's an issue in the future and we're going to tell them that we're not repairing the sidewalks if a repair has to be made, because that was going to be the original responsibility of the homeowners association, provided the homeowners association still exists. I believe that's Neill's point. I would ask, why were they wanting to run them under the sidewalks to begin with? Did it have to do something with the road, with the base of the road, the amount of rock and the development? I know where this is at, so I'm sure there's some hurdles within the development itself.
Their desire is to do, they believe it will require them to do less clearing. They want to leave more forested area in the fronts of the lots, is my understanding. And we've discussed various mechanisms. Maybe, we haven't worked out the details of the MOU yet, so it's certainly possible that we might not come to an agreement with this. But if we do, we have this conflict of interest situation to address.
Okay, well.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't move forward with this, with the language that's here, just under the understanding that if something happens, there's a chance that we have to use an alternative firm or in-house counsel.
Yeah, that's the way I read it. Can anybody else want to weigh in?
I got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Bill.
If there is no homeowners association at some point in the future, what good is that memorandum of understanding that says the homeowners association will pay for the repair work to the sidewalk, so we have to dig up the sewer line? Is there, I guess we'd be in the same boat either way, right? I mean, that, if there's no homeowners association, there's nobody to do that. Am I correct? Right? I guess that's just a what if question.
Yeah, I assume our position would be, we're not going to replace it because that's what our legal,
They'd have to create a homeowners association, I guess Neill was.
yeah.
Well, not
There's been a
everybody.
lot of, there's been a lot of discussion about this topic, and it continues to be discussed. I think ultimately what happens really to protect us, that there'll have to be a fund set aside that will allow us to, and have to be allowed to access this fund. Now, I guess the long-term issue is how this fund replenished. Details we have to work out with this MOU. But
A fund held by the homeowners association.
well, either that or by us. That's
By us.
There are details we have not worked out yet.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna kill me.
But however it does work out, this particular letter it doesn't seem to be all that ominous at this point, to me anyway. Neill, you're on, there you go.
It appears to me to be a standard letter.
Okay.
I don't see any problem knowing that if something happens up there during their construction and the startup of these subdivisions, I always am hopeful that whatever anybody builds is going to last more than a year or 2 years, particularly a house. So the question is, as I say, in the future, what would be our responsibility if there is no homeowners association, or the homeowners association has held the money and they have spent it on other things other than to be held in reserve for this. And we would be sued by homeowners saying, you have not returned my front yard to the condition in which I wanted it to have been.
Yeah.
And but of course, we're trying to anticipate what's going to be down the road in 5, 10 years, 20 years. And I would hope that the houses that they are building up there in Black Creek would last a whole lot longer than that.
Yeah. The concern is if the force main does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing, what I'm hearing is more concern about the terms of the MOU than this particular letter.
That's correct.
Mike, is this is in unincorporated Hamilton County?
It's actually in the city of Chattanooga. The entire development has been annexed by the city, but we did not cede the service area. So it's it's WWTA sewer service area.
So if it's in the city, the infrastructure, streets, sidewalks that lie within right of ways, will they not be dedicated to the city of Chattanooga at some point?
Yes, we would. Anything we do, we will be digging in city of Chattanooga streets and sidewalks.
So at that point, then those sidewalks technically belong to or controlled by the city of Chattanooga. So I think that changes the whole dynamic in terms of how, if we're the ones that tear them up, the cities are going to expect that we replace them, and then we'll be left to fight the legal battle.
That's correct.
Yes, that's why very likely when this all ultimately is decided, there will be a fund that we are able to access, much like I wouldn't say like a letter of credit, because I want it to be an actual fund, or we're not going to agree to this.
But according to Boyd, I think he's absolutely right. It's not the homeowners association we'll be dealing with. It's the city of Chattanooga.
What Black Creek is proposing is a portion of the monthly homeowner fees would go to this fund. And that's how the fund is established, and that's how the fund is replenished as necessary. the details of the amount, that sort of thing, we have not really decided on. As you can,
Okay.
the date of this letter, I just got this a few days ago. Although this whole sidewalk location has been a point of contention for many, many months.
I think basically the bottom line, if we don't sign this, that it's gonna extend the period of time that it's gonna take to see exactly what that agreement does look like. We won't know where we stand until that gets drafted and it's up for consideration. So that's basically what this will set into motion, is allowing channels to start working on that on their behalf. We're just basically releasing them to do that and acknowledging the conflict.
Do we want to do that? Anybody out there in the board want to weigh in?
Mr. Chairman, we'll have another shot at the at this and when the memorandum of understanding comes up for approval. So I guess if we authorize, you want to go ahead?
No, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's so, so if we authorize the chairman or you or Mike to go ahead and sign this, and the negotiation for the MOU will continue, and if we're not happy with it, we can halt it right there if we need to, I guess.
Yeah.
Neill, if they have an existing relationship with Black Creek, whether or not they work on this particular matter, there may still be a conflict if something comes up, correct?
That's correct.
So again, I don't think this is really that conflict's probably going to exist anyway. So I don't think this really hurts us.
So this is, go ahead. This is just an acknowledgement that
Yes.
we know the potential for a conflict is there.
And you all are now discussing, the second thing in this about discussing with independent counsel regarding the conflict, you're now being made aware of the risks that are involved by signing that. But of course, because they would have to walk away from both people, both Black Creek and the WWTA, if there was a violation of the MOU, or if the money, dried up or the fund went belly up.
Let me ask the question at the extreme end of this thing. What if we just refuse to acknowledge their request for putting the pipes in the sidewalks as not in our best interest? Is that a justifiable and defensible position to take?
I believe it's justifiable if the engineers can justify it. That would be one where I would cede information over to Mike Patrick. It seems to me the thing that the court would want to know is why were you taking it, and did you have logical and concrete reasons for doing it? You weren't arbitrary or capricious about your denial of going through the sidewalks. You had either scientific information or based upon other past experiences with going through the sidewalk. And you have those, right, Mike?
So, I mean, let's just take sewers in the street, a gravity sewer in the street, for example. If they had gravity sewers in the street up there, which they're going to have some, but not a lot of, but your typical development with gravity sewer in the street, when we have to make a repair, we have to put the street back. So we do have to make those repairs. If we have low pressure lines typically out of the pavement, but not always, but generally out of the pavement, and we have to make a repair in someone's front yard, we are responsible for putting the yard back to the property owner's satisfaction. The concern with the sewers under the, with the low pressure lines under the sidewalks is typically when you have a leak and it's in the grass in the yard, you pretty much know that's where your leak is. The issue that you have with it potentially under the sidewalk is if you have a leak, it may come out under the sidewalk, or it may come out, it may run the gravel that the pipe's bedded in and come out 10 feet or 50 feet or 100 feet down from the actual leak location. That's all conjecture, but that's just a risk. That's the problem with locating them under the sidewalk. Hence our hesitation in allowing that to happen. But as a concession, we said, okay, we'll allow it, but we're not going to be responsible for the sidewalk repair. That's how all this came about.
So it seems like we're open-minded to the idea. It's just the overall outcome, if, you know, what kind of liabilities we have in the future.
Yeah.
Well, it adds additional cost, I would think, to repairs that we don't experience currently.
It potentially does, although restoring someone's front yard typically is not without its expense as well.
Okay.
Likewise, a pavement repair also.
It's not free. I understand. Yeah.
It's interesting in that we have some developers that want us to put them completely out of the pavement. And then this particular developer wants to put it in the pavement. So in the concrete. So I don't know what else to say.
So we can, what's the board? What's your desire? It sounds like to me that we're at a low risk of signing this letter acknowledging a potential conflict of interest, but it doesn't commit us to anything in particular going forward. I don't see any real risk, but I'm open to other ideas from somebody else.
I agree with you, Mr. Chair. Signing the letter, I mean, until we get a document in front of us that we either agree with or have to debate about,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a moot point.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I make a motion, we authorize the chairman and our general manager, executive director to sign this letter.
Thank you, Bill. Do I hear a second?
Bobby, second.
Okay. Who was that? Bobby, did you second something?
Yes, I second that, to sign the agreement.
Very
I mean,
good.
as long as we're
Outstanding.
not obligated at this time.
Very good. Members of the board, introduce yourselves to Bobby Bishop when you get a chance. He's a new member from Lakeside. Welcome him aboard. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Or I guess we have to call the roll. Sorry.
Bobby Bishop,
Yes.
Alice Canella,
Yes.
Marion Collins,
We lose Darren?
Kenny Custer,
Yes.
Doug Fisher,
Yes.
Walker Jones,
Yes.
Bill McGriff,
Yes.
Boyd Ville,
Yes.
Dick G.
Yes.
Natasha, this is Darren. I'm not sure if you heard me say yes. I'm trying to switch devices and I'm not
Okay,
sure
no,
if that's
You went silent on us, so we got you. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I'm in the process of trying to switch devices. So if you see a 276 number come up, Natasha, that's my cell.
Thank you.
Okay,
If you could admit that, that'd be great, because it's not, I guess it's not letting me.
thanks for letting us know.
Yep, yep.
Appreciate it. I think we are ready for the financial report. Yes, or is there? Mike, or
I have no other issues at this point.
well, thank goodness. Yeah, that was interesting. Okay, Bill, you want to take us through the finances?
Yes, sir. First of all, I'd like to thank Peggy for doing such a good job on these things month in and month out. She works hard on them, so I thank her. And then I'd like to tell you, for the month of January, we made about $393,606.31, of which $232,057.76 is from our operating account, and $161,548.55 is from the PSLP account. Year to date, we've made $2,928,602.83. That's net income, of which $1,651,978.57 is from operating, and $1,276,624.26 is from PSLP. So that's good. We continue to have a positive net income for the first 7 months of the fiscal year. Our cash flow for the month of January increased $249,917.18, which is a positive cash flow. And for the year, our beginning cash July 1 was $23,695,804.53. Our ending cash January 31st, 2021 was $24,917,689.18, for a net increase in cash for the 7 months ended January 31st of $1,221,884.65, which is a positive for the 7 months. And I briefly looked at, on those capital projects, about $7 million of them, if I added it up right, were out of fund balance, which is our cash. Now,
Yeah.
we haven't spent all that money yet, but we are continuing to fund a certain percentage of our capital projects out of our current cash, which is a good thing, and still maintaining an increase in cash for the year. So that's, we're still doing we're doing well overall. On our financial position is still good. So,
Well, Bill, just let me pop in here. In light of the charts that went before on the accounts receivable, the fact that we're down 3% from normal, and that's roughly $1 million of revenue that we haven't realized.
You're exactly right.
And yet we're still looking pretty strong on the cash.
Pretty strong. So
yeah,
the staff is doing a great job, and it's all positive at this point in time. I hope it stays that way. But that's pretty much it. You got all the financials if you want to look at them. But
if scroll down to the debt service, Galen. Yeah, what's that? What happened?
Peggy?
We have to reimburse the county for piggybacking the 2004 bond issue, and they have a payment due every January. So that's why you see the spikes in January.
In January, okay.
And it will be even more so with that when we start paying back the 2020 bond, because their payments are in January as well.
Okay. Do we have an idea what that's going to top out at?
Not off the top of my head, but I can get it for you.
Just want to be ready.
Okay.
When it happens, I don't.
Yep. That was 17 million. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think safe to say financially, we're in very, very good shape right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Bill. Any comments, questions from board members? Okay. Where are we? Let's go with Commissioner's report. Kenny, do you have anything?
Yeah, I would just like to just thank staff. That they worked so hard to get everything done, provide us with all the information. And I know I call quite often because I get a lot of questions, and then refer a lot of citizens to them just because, some look at social media and they get the wrong information. And then once we're able to connect everybody together, they're over the top happy about the service that's provided to them. And it's just really getting that clear message to them and providing them with the correct information so they can get whatever problem that they have taken care of if possible. And we can't fix everybody's issues that go on, but a lot of time if it's a billing issue or whatever the case may be, it's just connecting with the right people. And I know staff has to deal with that on a regular basis, and I appreciate what they deal with. The one thing I would like to see if staff, it's not like I want to create any undue hardship on them, anything above and beyond what they do now, but going back through the website, when you look at a lot of the frequently asked questions, it's kind of minimal, but we all know, and obviously staff knows, they get a lot of the same questions day in and day out. So we may want to update some of those, just so we can direct people to the website and be like, okay, here you go. Here's what you're asking. Here's the reason why it's there. And I just think over time, as we add stuff to that, it may help. Simply the one question that always comes up, we all know, is why is it more expensive for sewer than it is water? So everybody here has been asked that question, and we all know what the response is. So why don't we provide that, some information like that, just some general terms. Our recent press releases we've done over the last year has been absolutely great. It's helped me tremendously on explanation. But we all know that we've got people to report to. Doug and I were copied, and along with Mike, on an email the other day that got forwarded around, sent to commissioners, county commissioners, and everybody else. And I think we're going to be able to take care of some of those issues. But I think the more good information that we can put out about what's going on, keeping people informed, the better off that we'll be.
Okay.
But again, I said all that to say thank you.
Yeah, good point though, Kenny. Bobby, have you got anything to bring us from Lakeside?
No, not at this time. I just looking forward to get up to speed with everything and got a lot to learn, and just appreciate everybody's patience and look forward to meeting everybody and possibly shaking hands with them one day.
I hope so very much. Welcome. Well, welcome again.
Thank you.
Lookout Mountain, Walker.
No report, Mr. Chair.
Darren, are you still there, Ridgeside? I'll move on. Boyd, have your ears been burning these past couple of weeks?
Well, I knew you guys were meeting on the consent decree, and
oh boy,
and as Kenny was nice enough to point out earlier, that Signal Mountain was responsible for these overflows.
the overflows.
I assumed that we were a hot topic.
Yeah, it really is just about it. It's the last remaining issue in the seating negotiations at this point. I think that really is undecided. It needs to be talked about. So but it's coming.
Hey Boyd, I apologize. In my defense, I did expect those to be in Eastridge.
Everybody did, Kenny. Jay, are you there? Doug, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am, but no report.
No report. Bill, how about you?
No, sir, no report.
Alice?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. A long meeting, but a good meeting. Great discussion, you all, on a really strange topic. But we worked our way through it. The next board meeting is March the 24th, 2021. Boyd, do you have a question?
Just want to point out, we do need to invite comment.
You want to say it again?
Just wanted to remind you that we need to invite comments, folks to call in.
Oh, thank you. Yes, appreciate it. Yeah, I had. Let's see. The next committee work session is the 18th of March, 2021. The next meeting with EPA, I believe, is the 11th of March. Yeah, Mike?
Mr. Chair, I think it'd be good to go ahead and read the number again, the call-in number.
All right, will do. And let's see if I can find it. There it is. All right, we have reached the end of the meeting. If anyone is there and listened, the number you may call is 209-7845, and we'll stay online for a few minutes in anticipation of a call if you have a question or just want to make a comment.
Mr. Chair, while we're waiting on that, is there any anticipation or an anticipated date on returning back to meetings?
In person?
Yes. I mean, currently I know the executive order is set or has been extended to the end of March, but.
I wasn't aware. Has it been extended?
I don't think it has been officially yet, but I did receive word that it was going to be extended till the end of March.
I look forward to that time, but I do not know. I haven't been informed. Where is everybody on their vaccinations? Are we, that might have something to do with whether we could meet safely or not.
Did they, so I know for us, so council's been coming in for several months now and having the meeting. It's just closed to the public. So they still meet in the council chambers and stuff. During public hearings, we still allow people to come in. We let them in one at a time, send them in one door out of the other. They have to be temperature checked, whole 9 yards. But for the most part, the meetings are closed, but done just like we do our meetings here. If somebody is absent, somebody's in Nashville for a meeting, they can still Zoom in, but we're trying to provide as much live action or much live meetings as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we just put barriers in between each space, similar to what they're doing at a bunch of other places. So I just didn't know if there was, if there's a rule at the county that you can't do that yet, or if it's just, kind of, we're waiting. I know that's maybe a
Neill, do you know? Unmute.
You're muted, Neill.
There you go.
I do not know, but what I can tell you is usually we don't get the word until about 2 to 3 days before the county executive and the governor issue their executive orders. So it's not unusual to be towards the end of the month before we will know what the ruling will be as far as those meetings. Whatever meetings we have, of course, we'll have to have the social distancing and have to have the masks on. So a lot of people figure it's just as well to do it long distance with a Zoom as to get, because they don't want to talk through those masks.
Well, I do.
Yeah, those orders seem to be coming out about 4 o'clock on Fridays.
Yes.
Yeah. We will have Mike.
Up to now, the DRC has been closed to the public.
Okay.
Planning its opening back up March 1st to the public, although I think you will have to still sign in. I'm not sure of the details of the opening March 1st, but just a general FYI, we sort of intended on the next meeting to be in person with the expiration of the Order 71, but if it's going to be extended, I guess that's another consideration.
We've also got to schedule a review of the consent decree with everyone, and I would love for that to be in person. I think it would be much more productive than trying to do it Zoom wise. But I don't know. And whether we meet together, I will rely on your advice and desires, frankly, and what kind of risks you all feel like you're willing to take, given what the situation is right now. But it looks like to me, for the foreseeable future, unless things change, we're going to continue to Zoom at least for a month or two. Natasha, anybody calling in?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to comment on? Thank you all again for what you do. I really appreciate this board working with you, not only professionally, but personally. It's a really, really good group. And you
I'd
do
just
great.
like to thank Doug real quick. Doug was on an email with me the other day and jumped in on a response. Doug, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think, we all kind of need to work together on this kind of stuff. And I appreciate you jumping up and taking the lead on it since it was out in East Ridge.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep. Okay. Hearing no further business, we'll consider the meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Great to see you. Stay well.